Are we on? Yep, we're on.
We're on
Hi,
YouTube. Which means...
Makeup with Stephanie.
Oh, we got a different... Oh, I can get that. Finally, I can get down. I'm going to use the farthest one at the bottom.
It's the same bag we've used this whole time.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It's my Smashbox bag. It's super cute, huh?
Shut up.
Anyway. What?
No, the other one had fur or something.
He just told me to... Why are you telling me to shut up?
Well, because I had my mic off, so there's no proof of it.
Wow. I'm just... Anyways.
Which one did I pick?
Tipsy. The
Pepsi.
Lip Color Lip Crush Lip Oil.
That sounds exciting.
It goes on, it's like a clearish, and then it goes on, like, it ends up going into a pink tint, kind of. It's cool. You pick it all the time. After this show, I'm going to need to be a little tipsy because everyone here sucks.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. Jesse's cool. All right, National
No,
Days.
she's not.
National Days. We have National Lazy Day. Can we be lazy today? I only get to pick one?
Yes, that's it. You're done.
Well, I got to say tomorrow because I'm not...
Okay, what's...
Anyways.
one national day per day.
Why? There's 4 tomorrow.
Pick one.
National Presidential Joke Day.
You did that because I made you pick one.
Or Global Kinetic Sand Day. Okay, I'm going to stop. But it's also National Sons and Daughters Day, too. And why am I at Raspberry Cream Day?
There you go.
All right, I'm done. Anyway.
Whoa.
See what I mean? See? You told me to shut up. He's flushed me down the toilet. I'm like a dead goldfish. That's how I feel right now.
Goes with your goldfish brain.
Wow, let's see if we make it through the show.
We're getting pretty dicey on that one today.
Yeah, and I'm like totally hormonal and PMSing, so if I start bursting into tears at any given second.
That's what she came in here.
I did not. I came in here like, you know what? Just put us on Facebook. I'm done with you people. I have no room. Okay. Anyway. Makeup with Stephanie. Yay.
Funky slide guitar music as I'm adjusting the equipment that comes on every Monday through Friday live at 5 on Newswire on Facebook and YouTube, and we might have even hit on Twitch. I don't know if we got that. No, we haven't got to Twitch yet. On that, on a
Moronic Monday. Or Moody.
yes.
Yes. Ooh, I can do both at the same time. That doesn't. Anyways, moving on.
if you don't think it was Moody, go and watch YouTube.
I took a shut up and a flush down the toilet, and I'm still smiling.
And you should see why, because you will see the finally admitted why we came in here just.
Anyways.
Just as you jam-packed news day over the weekend, all the stuff that's going on back and forth and up and down as our country's still beginning to lock down. Hair Gel had his press conference, first one in a week after they discovered all the data has been bad and all that stuff that was going on. Of that, Kelly Victory will be on later on to break it all down, everything COVID, all that stuff on that. And Trump had a press conference on that. We'll get to all that fun stuff. But something that struck me, and I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. Well, I guess you could, but I mean, you'd have to have one hell of an imagination and on top of that, just be on pure stupid. Now, I know one half of the population has been deemed stupid by the other half of the population, but of that,
This isn't dumb. I would say it's more.
of the less than stellar half of the population, would you pour lighter fluid on your nuts and light them on fire? There's this, and this is why I say social media's got to go. Here's this kid in his little cubicle who's some sort of gamer YouTube hero or something, loses something at Fall Guy game or something, and I don't know if he made this promise or the people that were watching were egging him on, but he takes lighter fluid and he stripped down to his shorts, put up the picture. He puts lighter fluid all over his crotch area. Let's be nice. And this is what the young man Chinaman did over there on that. Let the video roll.
이거 다시 할게요. 이거는.
That's the first one. Get to the second one where it's a.
I think that was the second one.
No, because the other one he's running on. He does this the first time. Then he pours more lighter fluid.
There's another one?
Yeah. Then he pours more lighter fluid on there in that. And yeah, there. Now he's. That was the first one again. Yeah, get to the second one, and he's. This wasn't enough because if he did a little bit. Here we go. Now here's this. Look at him. Now he's really dumping the stuff on there on that. The aforementioned. I guess it didn't burn him good enough on the first shot. Now he runs out and I guess he's doing that. Here he pulls out the lighter. Now you can see it looks like he's peed his pants. He's got so much lighter fluid on it of that. Now get ready to go on the deal on that. Of there. Here he goes on that. Watch this one. Of that on 1, 2, 3, 4. Now he got it going good. He's under the desk now on that. I mean, what kind of stupidity do you have to do something like that? I mean, what's the mentality of that?
Am I allowed to talk now?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
I don't see we're going to be in trouble this whole hour.
Yeah, pretty much. No, I don't. I don't get where the thing that makes me nervous, like Jesse said before we came on, is my kids are probably watching that.
Yes.
So now there's a younger generation watching this older generation that's supposed to lead the younger. But I'd smack the crap out of my kids if they ever did anything like that.
Yeah.
Like, why would you? Was it a dare though? I mean, if it's a dare,
he lost it. He was losing at this Fall Guy game.
Well, his friends are hardcore then,
and he was playing.
New friends.
We started with the video. It was like 3 hours long. He's playing this doofus game on that, which should be. That's the first thing you mentioned. Your kids are watching the after, but they
wouldn't watch that long though. They don't have time span for that.
3 hours. He's running this stupid game, which looks hideous to begin with. And then he
worked hard on that.
Then he loses and does and pulls that kind of stunt. I mean, it is a good. I mean, yeah, I guess you could use it since all parents now are pretty much in the teacher mode. I guess you could use this as a training of first, don't make a dare or a bet that you're not willing and able to cash in on.
Which he did.
Which he did.
I mean, you got to give him that. He followed through. He kept his word.
But think about all the possibilities of what you could do, or what could happen when you make that bet of doing that. So you could do that. And I had a friend, I can't remember, one of our listeners, her husband or something said, "Oh, I'll give you $1 for every comment you get." Well, like it's up to 1,000 comments or some darn thing of that. So it's a good lesson to say that. Put it's fine to put that as a joke, but maybe put like 50 or 100 first 100 or so. But if you leave an open-ended deal like that, what if
You
she
want to
got
make a bet like that? I'll post something and you can give me $1 for every comment.
Yeah, there's going to be a limit on it because
Dang
I'm not going to
it.
put. I'm not going to. Yeah, what if it winds up being 1 million comments?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you've got to think through some of the things you're doing when you do some of this stuff because it could wind up having disastrous consequences for you if you do that. But it's stupid from a lot of fronts. For one, what struck me about that was the 3 hours he's playing a dingy.
But these video games nowadays, though, they go on forever. That's like tournaments, and they just last like a poker tournament. Now they have video game tournaments. You ever play a poker tournament? You ever play poker? We should do a poker night one night.
Yes, we should.
That'd be fun.
No, I've never actually played like a pro tournament. No.
But you played poker before?
Yeah.
Let's do a poker night.
We could do that.
I'm gonna take all your money. Take all your chips. Can I borrow some money though?
Well, you said it. Oh my goodness! So, we just one half of this population was just never meant to win.
Or be unsupervised. Right?
Well,
Maybe.
you guys pretty much take care of that.
What do you mean?
The unsupervised part.
We should not. I'm saying some millennials should not be unsupervised. I am fine on my own, but ones like that. But what's with boys? You don't ever see a woman that's going to go and light her JJ on fire or anything like that. Do you?
Well, no, I bet you there's probably been some on there. We just haven't.
Well, that one lady did go and lick the ice cream and put it back. But I mean, that's that's not equivalent.
No, I'm sure there's probably been some interesting stuff going on. Moving forward,
I'm gonna have to find some.
on the yeah, we'll look for that.
Why not?
I'm sure if there's something stupid, somebody's probably done it somewhere. This is just one of the latest ones.
I wonder if he really got burned, though. I don't think he really got burned. It was probably just hot. Because that lighter fluid, it's wet, so it's going to, like, dry that
will tell
out
you
before
this.
it starts burning, right?
I'm not going to be the one to test the theory on that.
Well, I'm not going to either, but I'm just saying in general. I don't think it probably got to the skin yet.
How do you know once it lights off like that?
Well, look at, and then he did it the first time, and he did it the second time.
The first time I
wasn't
could see it
equivalent.
because it didn't burn very long, but the second time when he really soaked his
he
shorts and lit it off, that might have got a little toasty quick.
Nah. I don't know, maybe.
Governor Hairgel, Gavin Newsom. It broke right after his press conference last Monday that all the data was screwed up on the COVID-19. They didn't have this, that, and the other, and consequently, nothing from Gavin Newsom the whole rest of the week. No press conferences Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday.
If you can't count right or have your team count right, why the hell are you in, like our governor?
So,
Right?
the $64 gazillion question.
Okay.
So, this morning, that dingy broad, Sonia Angel.
Stop with the dingy broad.
Who's well, I said it. And I said it after the press conference on that. I said, oh, okay, I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she's just not a good public speaker, but she sounds stupid. She sounds like she doesn't know what the hell she's talking about.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, come on.
No, she's a special kind of stupid.
Am I? Well, moving on. Anyway.
What, you just cannot grasp the first law holds.
I did this time. Anyways. Carry
of
on.
that. So she resigns this morning because it's been coming out all week. Farrar, the witchy broad down there that's from L.A., the non-doctor social worker doctor who said that came out Wednesday, which we played on the show, and said, "Oh, well, the data's been all screwed up. We don't know if the case is going down or all our data is right, or we're even telling you what, because we don't even have any accurate data to base any of this stuff on." So she resigns this morning on the deal, and that's the big deal. The data, she's falling on her sword, and the reporters did. I mean, they were all over him on that, questioning him. And I don't want to talk about it. It's personnel. She's the chief health official. She resigns. There's a big... On that, you've locked us down for 5+ months on this. Based on bad data, it presumes, or inaccurate. You're making decisions affecting 40 million Californians, screwing up most of their lives. And, we're just going to call it Ollie Oxen. She resigns and we're going to walk out. But here's Hair Gel. This isn't even the half of it. Hair Gel has been, the state of California, he's either been the number two, or number one state official, lieutenant governor for 8 years, governor for 2+ years of that, or almost 2 years of that, for a decade. He's been the number 1-2 man of that. Here's what he said about the data and all our records in the state of California.
Before I bring up Dr. Galley, make some comments about information. It is clear, based upon what has been reported over the last week, that we have had a little bit of trouble in what we refer to as our Cal-Ready system.
A little bit of trouble? A little bit? The statistics aren't even close, and you has thrown California into chaos, and it's a little bit of trouble. Here we go.
I can regale you about large-scale IT here in the state of California, and I can assure you we haven't been passive about addressing the concerns of large-scale information technology systems here in the state of California that are decades and decades old, simply incapable of meeting this moment, let alone a pre-COVID moment.
Incapable of meeting this moment. And we were 5+ months into that, and we're finally saying we are incapable of dealing with the whole situation? I mean, what in the hell is going on? All of us that have taken the brick bats and arrows, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, Gavin Newsom, he's so handsome. I wish he would run for president. Oh, he says to wear a mask. I'm going to wear 24/7, 365. Oh, gosh.
I'm going to slap you in a minute.
You know,
We don't sound like that.
we cannot be making our public officials. We should not be making decisions on who sits in the office based on our sexual fantasies, for crying out
Maybe
loud.
they didn't.
Well, then
You
why
need
are
to
they
stop
saying
going
that?
back to that?
Because
you,
why
one
would you-
person says it and then you run with it for like 5 years.
They say it all the time. Watch
No,
the
they
comments.
don't.
And you're still supporting this clown.
No, they don't.
Why is he still in office? You
Because
see
they need to go sign the recall.
you see the comments up and down the line of that on not our site, but a lot of ours. Some of them on. So you still see some of them that do. There's ones that comment on ours that come in there and defend this guy up and down and every which way but sideways. How could you? He said for decades, and you've been either the number 1 or 2 state official for a decade. That is 10 years for those of you in Adelanto, California. I cannot. It's almost unbelievable that and then not say we're going to make old Sonia Angel fall on her sword, and we're just we're not going to talk about why she resigned or all this stuff or yada yada yada. What? I mean, for crying out loud. I mean, I got three letters for you. DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles. That not only have the records been screwed up, anybody that's ever dealt with that hideous agency on that. On top of that, what was it, a year ago or so? Some person was sleeping on the job 4 out of the 8 hours a day and not working. And not only did she not get fired, I think it was a she, her supervisor didn't get fired. On top of that, the records of practically everything, DMV on down in the state of California, prison systems have been a frickin' mess. And he says these sort of things. Here's video number 2 on the docket going on You won't believe this.
Issue, which Dr. Galley will talk a little bit more about in a moment, but it's to make sure that you appreciate that we're not going to just use this as an episodic issue, Band-Aid this, fix this for the moment. I recognize, again, across the spectrum, the magnitude of the challenges with IT here in this state that are going to require a stubborn, long-term grinding of effort. I don't want to overpromise in this space. It took us decades, quite literally, decades to get into this place, but we're now accountable. And in that accountability comes a responsibility to be transparent about these.
Accountable? Decades? You've been the number 1 or 2 guy for at least a decade, and you haven't corrected it. May I remind you again the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. We have put these screwballs in office. They have subsequently lied, never told the truth, screwed you over. Not only are they screwing you, they're screwing your kids and their grandkids and everybody else's future into the ground. Now, why? Why do you vote for people for state assembly like Jose Medina or State Senator Richard Roth in this area in the Inland Empire? Or a whole host of the other ones around here, of the majority, a super majority, where they have taken stupid to new heights in California. And then on top of that, he's whining and crying about Trump extending the unemployment benefits because Nancy Pelosi wouldn't make a deal. She could have done that like that, which is his relative. She's Speaker of the House. They could have made an unemployment deal to help the so-called working class that the Democrats always say they're for. Well, how is not doing that? And then because Trump said, well, we're going to extend it, I'm going to sign an executive order for $400 on the deal, for $400 on that, which is a discount, but I've got enough money in the other stuff that I can move it around that. But the states are going to have to kick in $100 of that, on that, to that. Here is Newsom whining and crying about this.
And our advocacy to see a deal at the federal level, to see an effort of compromise, an effort that has been advocated for months now by Speaker Nancy Pelosi to provide an additional stimulus to this country, individuals, not just states and local governments. The House led in this effort a number of months ago, over $3 trillion relief package.
Yeah, that ran out on August 1st. I mean, what in the hell are you talking about? That's why Trump gave them he told them at the last week on Monday, he said, if by Friday, if the House, if Crazy Nancy and Crying Chuck up there in the Senate didn't have a deal by Friday, he was going to sign an executive order on Saturday to do it. They refused. They tried putting health care and green this and recycle that and save the birdies and destroy the environment and all the other kooky crap that they've been doing, put us farther in debt, more control. And if we ain't getting that, you know what? All you guys that are unemployed because of our stupid decisions, you guys get to eat it. And Trump signs it on Saturday, and then Doofus says, oh, we can't afford the $100. That would cost us $700 million. Where's this? Oh, budget surpluses. We're the 5th largest economy. Everything is going great. California is the greatest nation if it was sitting in the world. Blah, 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 blah. And you can't afford to kick in $100 when your relative up there, Nancy Pelosi, would not let it go through. And Trump's putting it in. And he said, just from the constraints, you guys got to kick it in or you're not getting it. And this guy was whining and crying about it today, trying to blame it on Trump when he should be blaming it on himself and Nancy Pelosi and Crying Chuck.
I don't even know what to say to you right now. I'm I'm just gonna stay here and do the comments. You're on a rant. My kids are watching. You're being mean. Calm down.
Well, I'm giving you a chance to
Calm the hell down.
because if I'm going, I'm lit up
You
like a
already
firecracker.
are. You're calm the hell down, dude. You're so angry.
Well, I gave you a chance to let me calm down, and you won't talk.
Because you're on a rant. I get that you're frustrated. I think everybody else is, but
Well, why isn't everybody
you're
doing
yelling.
something
What the
about
hell are
it?
you doing?
I'm
a
trying
loving
to
way.
enlighten, as I have been for decades, about doing this. Why, and explaining to you why this is important. Why you should be down there at the city council meetings or school board or county supervisors and in their grill and not being intimidated by the executive staff and the politicians that keep lying to you and telling you lies each and every day. Why do you keep tolerating it? Why do you keep electing it? Why are you not out there with pitchforks and torches? When are we going to pick the day? Which day are we going to go down there and tell them we ain't standing outside in front of this meeting? We're coming in. We're going to demand that you either fix this stuff or we're going to unfix you out of your seats.
Maybe people like them. Maybe people respect them. Not everybody's going to see it the way you are. I'm just saying.
So, you want
Not everybody has to agree with Roy.
No, tell me when, for decades, by his own admission, and he has been the top one or two state official in this state with the power and authority to do something about it, and he has done diddly squat, and he is saying right now, as you just heard him say on tape, we are incapable of handling the situation.
Well, at least he finally admitted it.
Why isn't he resigning? Why are people demanding that he resign?
I don't know. My kid said hi.
Hi, kids.
Oh, gosh.
It's from that standpoint, what drives me crazy about this is the indoctrination that the kids are getting in all this stuff. And they're not getting the truth. They're not getting the real story of that. They're hearing this lies and crap and Ola and yada, 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 and on and on and on. And what are they to believe if nobody else is telling them the difference or why it is important that you pay attention to this kind of stuff? It is never too early to learn civics and personal responsibility and how you make things happen and what happens when you don't pay attention. You're living it. You want to be wearing a mask for the rest of your life?
He's driving me crazy, Jesse. You can't blame this on everybody else. What the?
Well, then who is? They said they're incapable of handling it.
Okay, he admitted to it. At least he came forward and finally said it. Give him a chance to fix it. You're not giving him a chance.
He has had 10
Or
years
to
to
leave.
fix it.
Oh my gosh. I can't even talk to you right now. I'm just going to stay here and shut up.
Well, then what are you going to... Are we just not going to do anything?
Basically, yeah. Because if I do anything, I'm going to hurt you. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that.
So I'm to blame.
I'm not saying you're to blame. You just need to calm the hell down. You're sitting here yelling at everybody. Like it's their fault. All our viewers, you're scaring them. You're pissing them off.
Again, the reason we got into this situation is find the nearest mirror and go look at it. Because it all starts with us. We have allowed this to happen. We collectively, as 40 million Californians, have allowed this state of affairs to happen. And
you can't blame people because they trusted somebody. And I think that's where people are getting mad and frustrated with how you come across on things sometimes. You're blaming them for trusting that somebody was going to get us through this BS time safely and in a good manner.
And what was his track record of ever doing from San Francisco?
People don't follow politics like you do, though. You can't sit here and expect them to be like Roy. You need to come across and educate people in a kind way, not yell at them and call them names.
Oh, pretty please, would you?
I'm going to freaking hit you.
Finish him.
I'm about to.
1 minute. One
Hi,
minute.
Sean.
Hi,
This is the only
Stephanie.
reason why I come in here.
Would you, please? Would you
Finish him.
please, pretty please, with sugar on top? Not vote for these idiots. They might be good people, so maybe you should vote for them because they mean well.
30 seconds.
Holy hell.
And he has a good haircut.
Self-control right now is like at max level.
What
Yeah,
else?
you're doing
What
pretty
other
good yourself.
education do
I'm
you want me
surprised.
to do?
No, I'm not even talking to you anymore. We're on a talk right now. I'm just not talking.
All right, everyone. Here we go.
Thanks,
10
Sean.
seconds.
Go to KMET1490am.com and download your free phone app today. IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station.
There's that funky slide guitar music comes under 5:30 Monday through Friday on the Mighty Red 1490 AM, broadcasting all across the Inland Empire. And as we started off the first half hour broadcasting on YouTube and Facebook on IE Newswire, on the web, going all around the world. If you just tune into IE Newswire, punch us up on Facebook or the aforementioned YouTube. And it's really cool to do that on YouTube because you get our first segments, which are exclusive.
And they're happy.
Yes, they're funner than stuff. But this is a really messed up Monday on that.
I'm going with Moody.
Of that. Well, we know who was Moody. We went through.
You know how...
And this, yeah, you
Sorry,
gotta
all
watch
your ears.
you gotta watch the YouTube first
Don't fall through
segment
the floor.
because
Oh my God.
because you will see why she's calling it a Moody Monday.
Oh, Lord, save me.
On this whole deal, we mapped out the whole deal. Hair gel, Governor Gavin Newsom hasn't come on with a press conference since last Monday. Angel, whatever her name was, Sonia Angel, the head medical official, just resigned over the whole records fiasco that's going on in California. Admitted we don't even, the data is not accurate. They're incapable of handling the situation, in Gavin Newsom's words today at the press conference, which was late by a half an hour on the deal of that, because he really didn't want to do this. On top of that, he was whining and crying about Trump extending the unemployment benefits that Nancy Pelosi was blocking. His relative on that, and he didn't want to kick in the extra $100. And you think the Democrats are for the working people when they are flushing you right down the toiletto? Where's the injustice to that? But to discuss, we're going to get a real expert in here to discuss. To do that, we have the aforementioned Dr. Kelly Victory, which we've had on many times on, and none too timely, because as we played the clip a few minutes ago, and I'm sure Dr. Kelly has heard it, not only has Governor Gavin Newsom, Mr. Hairgel, admitted the records that we've been using COVID and for decades all across the state of California are fouled up, inaccurate. You can't rely on them. And he's been the number 1 or 2 head man in California for the last 10 years. On top of that, he said, we are incapable of handling the situation. Duh. Welcome to the IE Newswire. Kelly Victory with Stephanie and Roy.
Hey, guys. Glad to be back with you. What an unbelievable press conference that was. For starters, I've never actually heard someone use so many words to say so little. It was remarkable to me how little Gavin Newsom actually managed to convey during that conference. But I will tell you, as I've said from the very beginning of this coronavirus episode, crisis, whatever you want to call it, the virus is real, but the statistics are not. And now, all these months in, after we've had these draconian lockdowns, decimated the economy, destroyed people's livelihoods, delayed school openings and church openings and all of these things, now, in the 11th and a half hour, we're hearing Gavin Newsom say, hey, whoops, turns out all of the data is actually wrong.
I was almost shocked and silenced when I heard that, and I couldn't agree with you more. He was stepping all over himself, doing that, and then trying to throw Sonia Angel under the bus, who resigned today, the head of whatever health official was up there. And the reporters, I will give him credit, 3 or 4 of them pressed him on it today, saying, "Well, why aren't you giving her more details? Why is she resigning of that?" Could it be, and I'm saying maybe not indirectly, but the one who gave her the orders to run this phony documentation was none other than Gavin Newsom, if you want to trace it back. That's why he doesn't want to take it. He's hiding behind personnel, yada, yada. She was the head health official. She's not the person who was sweeping the freaking sidewalks, Kelly.
I happen to agree with you, Roy. I think a lot of people were making something of it and saying that she, got fired or was forced to resign because of incompetence. I don't have the inside details, and I don't know Sonia Angel, but my guess, looking at the optics of this thing and looking at Gavin Newsom today and watching him sort of, fall all over himself, I'm guessing that the real story that's going to come out is that she resigned because she said either along the way, this isn't accurate, these numbers aren't correct, I can't report this stuff, or we can't be making policy on the basis of these numbers because they're not right, or she somehow had been giving other people the heads up that there was a problem with the way that they were collecting data, and that she finally in the end said, I'm done. I'm not going down with this ship, and that she resigned. That's sort of, if I had to put a bet on which way it went down, I'm guessing that she actually resigned, wasn't forced to resign, but said, I'm out of here. I'm done with this.
I couldn't blame her if she was. Yeah. But she had to know she was dealing with bad data on this whole.
Well, the issue is, I think, in my viewpoint, is that we know that the way they were collecting the data all across the country, not just in California, has been faulty because of the way that the positive tests are reported, the fact that one person can be counted 3, 4, 5 times. We know that there have been tremendous numbers of false positives, false negatives. Look, just a couple days ago, the governor of Ohio, Mike DeWine, tests positive, and then within 8 hours, tests negative. Whoops. So it's not just like it's happening with, John Smith, sort of, Joe Q. Public. It's happening with people in high-profile positions who should have access to high-quality tests. So they know that the numbers have been faulty. Then there was what Newsom kept referring to today in the press conference as a, quote, computer glitch. I don't know what the glitch supposedly was. I'm not a computer expert, but it seems to me that somebody had to know along the way. He acknowledged that he at least knew a week ago. He knew last Monday, if I heard him correctly. He at least acknowledged that he knew a full week ago, yet we aren't hearing about it until, way into this. And it's one thing, as I've said over and over again, It's one thing if you are collecting data because you're trying to get a handle on how many people actually have come in contact with the virus or have had the virus, so that you can actually calculate an accurate mortality rate. That has some value. Then you can say, as I've said from the beginning, we were initially told that the mortality rate from COVID-19 was 7, 8, 9%, when in fact, even if you use the current numbers, it's down at somewhere around 1.5%. And I believe that, frankly, if you knew how many people actually had it, which is a lot more than have been tested, the mortality rate from COVID-19 is probably on par with influenza, somewhere around 0.5%. But if you instead are using those numbers not to figure out the mortality rate, but which is just kind of a nice thing to know, but instead to drive public policy, to determine whether or not schools can reopen, to determine whether or not bars and restaurants can be open for full business, to determine who can go back to work and whether or not we can get our economy back up and going, then you better be dang sure that those numbers are correct and that you know what the heck they mean. And instead, the only thing I took away that was meaningful from that entire press conference, Roy, was that Newsom acknowledged that hospital admission rates have continued to fall. They were down 20%, 19 or 20%, and that mortality rates from COVID-19 have continued to fall, not day over day, but week over week. We have shown a continued downward trend in both of those two numbers, hospitalizations and deaths. And frankly, that's all I care about.
I want to run a little scenario because this is, and I mean, I was practically rocketing myself through the roof when I heard this. He admitted he's been the number 1 or number 2 state official in California for 10 years now, a decade. He admitted the records not only in this or in everything else in the state of California and all the data have been screwed up for eons. Now, if I was in charge, or when I've been in charge of my companies or stuff are brought in to fix these things, I just said, okay, we know we got a problem. This is a number 1. From the day I've declared on March 4th the state of emergency, I would have said, we are going to, since we're the 5th largest economy and bragging about all this stuff and how great we are going to, I want the best experts, the best data, the best IT equipment of anything going on this. I want 100% accurate information, and I want it up on the web for everybody to see instantly so everybody knows what's going on and we get everybody's input on this so we don't make mistakes like are coming at this. That didn't even, as we are seeing now, that did like 180 degree opposite of what happened. And you wonder why I come in here and I'm about ready to explode? Kelly.
No, I agree with you 100%, Roy, on this. When you keep talking about that you are a nation state and that you have this enormous economy and that you're carrying sort of the weight of the world on your shoulders, heavy is the head that wears the crown, Gavin. Then you better be darn sure that you've got the right numbers and that you are making those available to people. We have been sending in scenario after scenario, tons and tons of evidence that the data that they're collecting is not correct. We've been talking about this repeated counting of cases. We've been talking about false negatives, false positives, wait times that are too long for people to get their results back. And instead of him jumping all over these things and saying, whoa, we can't allow that to happen, and we need to be transparent as all get out, there's been a tremendous amount of just sort of, no, we have the numbers. So here's what he keeps saying. We're following the data. We're not going to share the data with you. We're not going to actually make sure that it's correct, but just trust us. Just rest assured we are very scientifically based. And now I fear that, along with the people in Washington who made a lot of missteps all along the way with this and who have flip-flopped and gone back and forth on everything from masks to social distancing, they've tried to absolutely do a political hit job on certain medications, including hydroxychloroquine. When those things happen, the public loses trust. They lose faith in the people who are leading the charge on this. And I think what we're going to begin to see is more and more civil unrest, more and more people saying, you know what, I don't buy it anymore. Your numbers were wrong. You made decisions based on wrong numbers. You based policy decisions on things that had profoundly negative impact on me and my family. And you know what? I'm not doing it anymore. And when you marry that with the unbelievable just hubris that we have seen and the inconsistency, the hypocrisy of how they have applied some of these things, where they're saying, you know, Costco can be open and liquor stores can be open, pot stores can be open, but churches can't be open. Nail salons can't be open, but, you know, casinos can be open. I mean, that sort of thing is so hypocritical that people really, I think, are pretty much just at their breaking point now.
Stephanie, do you want to hear something positive on the COVID-19 front?
What?
Well,
Yes.
well, thank you of that. I was watching the
scared.
Trump press conference, which just came on just before our show did, and I'm going along, and 50% of my wish did come true today, because Trump mentioned standing right outside is Dr. Scott Atlas of Stanford University, and he will be now advising us on the COVID-19 deal. Now, if there's somebody who's been almost lockstep in agreement with everything Kelly Victory has said on this show, it's been Dr. Scott Atlas of Stanford. You guys have been almost parallel 100%. And now, if the second part of my wish comes true, I will be a much happier and calmer boy if Kelly Victory would be advising the state of California
Kelly-
on this thing, like Scott Atlas is
Kelly,
now
you got to
doing
make it happen, please.
at national level.
I certainly wish it were so, and I appreciate the kind remarks. If I can't be at the White House advising Trump right in the middle of this thing, then I certainly am glad that Scott Atlas is, because he's really a terrific person. He's highly trained. He's sensible. He has a nice, calm, measured approach to this. And he and I have been in lockstep about this from the beginning. So I'm thrilled as well that he is there, and hopefully he will be the voice of common sense and reason. Although, even though we are pretty late in the game here, if anyone can help to turn it around, I think that that Dr. Atlas can be a voice of reason.
I do, and I say that because of the doctors, and I've had a lot of them on. We've had quite a few of them on in the show, and experts and epidemiologists. But between you and Scott Atlas, I think for one, you've been almost more like on the scientific. You've been able to break it down, and you've been, I don't know that. I'm not going to say never 100%, but I don't know anything that you guys have not called that are right, and been able to explain things. Take the complexities of this stuff and explain it, which to me makes me know that you understand your subject, because you can take something complicated and breaking down. So when you or Dr. Atlas say something, I put a lot of stock in it because of those factors, and it gives me a comfort level of knowing that and it gives me the impetus to go out there and say stuff, because when they say, well, you don't know what you're talking about, are you an expert? I said, well, no, I may not be in this particular one, but I know a lot of people who are, and this is what they're saying.
Well, one of the things for certain that Scott Atlas brings to the table, and I'm hoping that I do as well, is that he looks at this from the public health perspective. And what I mean by that is that he understands the mandate of public health, which means you have to look not just at an individual and how a disease process impacts any particular individual, but you have to look at what the possible long, far-reaching ramifications are of any particular mitigation scheme or responses on the entire population. So you have to look at, okay, could one child get sick and need to be hospitalized if we open schools? Possibly. But we need to look at the impact on all children of keeping schools closed, and do that very careful weighing of that balancing of, trying to save as many lives as possible, decrease as much illness and suffering as possible, but balance that along with the civil liberties, the rights of the entire rest of the population, and how it could negatively impact those people from not just a financial and spiritual and psychological perspective, but also from a health perspective. Because we know that the draconian lockdowns, just take things like the moratorium that we put that was forced upon us for, quote, elective surgeries and things of that sort. Tremendous millions of people have suffered as a result of that, and millions of people have had bad health outcomes because they couldn't get health care, whether it was a quote-unquote elective surgery or all of the other sorts of medical services. I have myself have patients who have had delays in previously scheduled exams like colonoscopies, mammograms, skin cancer screenings. They were scheduled for back in February and March. They didn't get done. They're just starting to get now. And I've had a number of patients who now had those exams done in July and found out that they had cancers. They have malignancies. They had abnormal pap smears, abnormal mammograms, abnormal colonoscopies. And to a person, they're saying to me, Dr. Victory, would it have been different if I'd found this back in February? Now, how do I look at that person and say, no, that 5-month delay didn't make any difference? I'm serious. If it were me, I would be. So I'm looking at them and saying, I can't tell you that the difference, that you're not going to have a worse outcome now because we sat on this. We didn't know about it 5 months ago when we should have. And that's devastating. So somebody like a Scott Atlas brings to the table that perspective that, yes, we need to take COVID-19 seriously. We need to mitigate as much risk as possible, but we also must consider the impact of any of these shutdowns or delays in care or whatever else it is, wearing of masks, social distancing, what the impact that those things have on everybody, not just an individual.
Here's my illustration. I give it a lot to kind of, I'll give you a short story. It's like a military example. You have two choices. You can send 100 men in to their sure death to save 100,000, or you could save that 100 and 100,000 are going to die. And you got to be, both choices are not necessarily good, but there's only really one choice in there, and I think that's what you're illustrating, is you just can't look at each individual patient or somebody who has COVID-19 that may die from it and project that to 7 billion people.
Right.
Exactly. Or to follow with your military example, if anybody goes into war, if you can only accept 0 deaths as a win, then you will surely lose the war.
Yes.
No, but you cannot go into it like that. Unfortunately, there are going to be some people who die from COVID-19, but we have to balance that. And the mandate of public health is to isolate the few to protect the many, not isolate the many to protect the few. We really have to look at it that way. So I am certainly hopeful that Scott Atlas will bring that viewpoint to the White House, because I think it's been sorely missing. It's what I've been talking about from the beginning of this fiasco back in February. I certainly have never said that the virus itself is a hoax or isn't real, but I've been cognizant from the beginning that we know, fortunately, who the real at-risk population is. We can easily rally around that group of people and protect them, and the rest of us can get back to life, just as they did, by the way, in 1918 with the Spanish flu, just as we did in 1957 with the enormous influenza outbreak then, just as we did in 2002 and 3 with SARS, and in 2009 and 10 with H1N1, just as we've done every other time. Except that this one has been politically charged. It came at a time where there was political expediency to really amping it up into something more than what it otherwise would have been. And I think that's unconscionable.
Dr. Kelly, I can't thank you enough for all your efforts in trying to bring facts, not fear, in this whole situation. I know you've kept me, just on a personal, you kept me sane in some of this
Yeah,
stuff in an
definitely.
insane world that's going on. And I really, really, and I know our audience does, they really, really appreciate it.
Well, anytime. I'm happy to be back. I'm hoping that things are going to start to turn, although I got to tell you, when you first hear schools are open and then, whoop, not so fast.
There you go. We'll do it again
Yeah.
real soon.
Sounds good.
You
Bye,
got it.
Dr.
care.
Kelly.
Bye, Stephanie.
Oh, you
Really,
Oh, you see why, I get wound up about this stuff. I
Yeah.
hope, because how do we get into this situation like this when people are saying, and you'll just keep buying the lie and accepting it.
can I talk now?
Yeah.
Okay, really quick. Lucy, we don't have time to touch on it today, but she had brought up a good point over the weekend about how President Trump passed, was it a bill? I don't know if it was a bill,
The unemployment.
to get rid of the taxes.
Yes, the payroll taxes.
But does that affect you at the end of the year when you have to go do your taxes? Are you going to now have to pay into taxes because you got rid of them? Are they going to come? Like, how's that all going to work?
I would hope so. I think they're eliminating the payroll tax, and you should. You should have to write a check at the end of the year or do like this. Businesses have to write it every quarterly if you're self-employed. You should have to physically write a check to the money you pay to your state, local, and federal governments. If you did, you would have a whole different perspective. Because you know what? Just on that aforementioned tax, there's a.
But do you think if you wrote that check that you would get more money?
No.
You would,
it would impress upon you the amount of your money that you are sending to these ding-dongs that are hosing you under the workbench.
see, there you go, spinning it negative again. Okay, really quick. Carla writes in school in Georgia that opened the schools, and now there are more kids testing positive and zero social distancing. The girl that posted the pictures was then suspended from school. But I think it's because she was posting it, and you can't post photos of minors.
Or medical conditions on that with the HIPAA laws and
Right.
all that sort of stuff.
But even so, if they're testing positive more in Georgia, are they sick? Are they dying? I mean, are they?
Yeah,
what's going
like
on?
Kelly said, and everybody said the death rates are going down, the hospitalizations are going down on that. It's going to run its course. Like Kelly said, the virus is real. The numbers we're getting are not.
And Stephen also kind of piggybacks, I piggyback on his, I guess. He put out this students in Georgia getting sick from COVID or just testing positive.
Yeah.
I mean, there's two different.
Kids don't get sick very, very, very,
And if they do, I think my kids had it back in December and they coughed.
And yeah.
They coughed.
And unless they have, pre-existing conditions and all that other stuff, there is. But you're going to be hearing that. That's the next thing to scare you to death. The kids are going to all die.
Oh, ABC's already announcing and putting it out there that more kids are testing positive. There's like how many thousands are now positive?
Go back and run the tapes. I said this is coming. You posted it in an IEN.
Yeah. So moody.
Well, I'm not going to disagree with that.
I wonder why. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, everyone.
You got it. Until tomorrow.
We're gone. Bye.